All right, today we're going to dive into something really interesting. It's a way of experiencing the world that, can feel a bit lonely sometimes, but it's actually all about a deep, deep search for meaning. So let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like you're just on a completely different wavelength than everyone else? Like small talk just wears you out, right? And the latest trends? You just couldn't care less. If you've ever felt like you're kind of on the outside looking in, watching a game you don't really get or even want to play, well, you're in the right place. Okay, so that feeling of being a little out of sync, it's not just some random quirk. No, there's actually a name for it, a whole framework that helps make sense of it all. We are talking about the idea of being an old soul. So, what does that even mean, old soul? Well, let's be clear, it's not about reincarnation or anything like that. It's not about how old you actually are. It's more an entire way of looking at life. And yeah, the term isn't, a clinical diagnosis, but it just perfectly captures that feeling of someone who, no matter their age, just has this deep inner pull to understand the big picture. They're on a quest for purpose, for truth. Now, let's get into the psychology of it for a second. This whole drive, it's not just some fuzzy feeling. It's actually tied to a recognized personality trait called self-transcendence. This is the real deal. In fact, famous psychologists like Abraham Maslow saw this as the absolute peak of human development, that need to connect with something bigger than yourself. You can think of it like an engine, always pushing you beyond your own day-to-day wants, all for the sake of finding a life that truly means something. Okay, so how does this actually look in real life? Let's talk about some of the common patterns you might see. And hey, don't think of this as some strict checklist. It's more like a mirror, a way to see if these experiences feel familiar. We're going to walk through 7 key signs that really define this way of being. Let's see how many of these hit home for you. First up is your social life. It's not that you're antisocial, not at all. It's just you're selective. You're looking for those really genuine, deep connections. All that surface level chatter, it just completely drains you. For you, it's always been about quality over quantity. That's where the real stuff is. And because you value that depth so much, it means you're totally comfortable being on your own. In fact, you kind of need it, right? For you, being alone isn't about being lonely. It's your space to recharge, to think, to really process everything. It's where your best ideas and deepest thoughts really come alive. Okay, sign number 3. You are an absolute sponge for knowledge. But I'm not talking about just collecting random facts for a trivia night. No, you're driven to understand the why of things. You have this constant need to connect the dots, to get the bigger picture, to find real wisdom that you can actually use to navigate your life. How about this one? Does chasing after the newest phone, the latest fashion trend, or trying to rack up likes on social media just feel kind of hollow to you? This is a huge one. You often feel more like you're just watching society's big rat race from the sidelines instead of actually running in it. And that's because your priorities, your values, are just pointed in a totally different direction. All right, next up, you've got this incredibly strong inner compass. You know what? While everyone else is making detailed pro-con lists or asking 10 different people for advice, you trust your gut. That intuition, that gut feeling, is one of your main tools for making big life decisions. And let's be honest, it's usually right. This one's interesting. While people around you might be getting totally swept up in the latest drama or freaking out over small stuff, you just don't. You have this natural ability to see the bigger picture. And that gives you this sense of calm, this perspective that helps you stay grounded even when everything around you is chaotic. And last, but definitely not least, let's talk about what really motivates you. What gets you out of bed in the morning? It's not the thought of a bigger paycheck, right? Or a fancy job title. It's something deeper. It's the chase for a life that feels truly meaningful and authentic to you. That inner fire, that drive for purpose, that's your true north. So when you put all these signs together, what do you get? Well, you start to see this fundamental choice, this fork in the road. It's really about 2 completely different ways of defining what a successful life even looks like. This next slide breaks it down perfectly. And here they are, the 2 paths. Look, society is constantly screaming at us to take the path on the left, right? It's all about status, keeping up with trends, and constantly worrying about what other people think. But the old soul, they're walking the path on the right. It's a quieter journey, a more internal one. It's all about purpose, wisdom, and just being true to yourself. Feeling different, it can be tough. It really can. But what if we reframe that? What if being different isn't a weakness, but actually your greatest advantage? Let's talk about how to really own this path. Think about it. Every single thing that might make you feel a little out of place is actually a superpower. That need to be alone, that's what lets you have those deep, insightful thoughts. Not caring about trends, that just means you're focused on what actually matters in the long run. That intuition of yours, it's an unbelievably reliable guide to an authentic life. And that constant nagging feeling that you're searching for meaning, well, guess what? That search is your purpose. So here's the bottom line. Your path isn't wrong. It's just different. And it's a path that's defined not by the stuff you collect, but by the person you become along the way. So the only real question left to ask yourself is, where are you going to let that journey lead you?